Well, we will be getting you all the details on the same, but let's first start with the speed news. The fragile ceasefire plan between Israel and Lebanon is under threat as heavy fighting continues. Smoke was seen rising above southern villages in Lebanon as Israeli forces carried out air attacks. Lebanon's health ministry reported that Israeli strikes killed 8 people, including women and children. 5 were killed in eastern Lebanon, while another attack on southern city of Tyre left 3 more dead. Hezbollah has rejected the proposal and the proposed Israel-Lebanon ceasefire agreement, demanding a full withdrawal of Israeli troops. Israeli airstrikes on Gaza have killed at least 11 people and wounded 15 others. Most of the fatalities occurred in strikes on residential apartments in the Gaza city, while 2 people were killed in separate drone attacks targeting police personnel. Witnesses reported simultaneous strikes by Israeli helicopters on 4 residential buildings in the Sheikh Radwan and Tel Al-Hawa areas, as well as the Shati refuge camp, causing powerful explosions. Arab and Islamic nations have urged the UN Security Council to stop Israel's annexation campaign in Gaza and the West Bank. Palestinian Ambassador Riyad Mansour, joined by Arab and Muslim envoys, called on US President Donald Trump to stop Netanyahu in his tracks, while the Arab group expressed deep alarm over escalating settler aggression and military violence, warning it delivers a deadly blow to the two-state solution. Saudi and Turkish diplomats said Israel's actions amount to accelerated annexation, demographic engineering, and dismantling of Palestinian rights. Iranians gathered in Tehran on Thursday to mark the 37th anniversary of Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini's death at his mausoleum. Well, Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khomeini issued a message warning that Iran's enemies, defeated on the battlefield, now seek to undermine public resilience and sow division. Well, Khomeini called for national unity, saying any action that fuels pessimism or frustration among the public amounts to aiding the enemy. The message was read during ceremonies honoring the Islamic Republic's founder, coinciding with a major Shiite holiday. Massive demonstrations erupted in Albania's capital, Tirana, as citizens rallied against a $1.6 billion luxury resort project led by Jared Kushner, son-in-law of US President Donald Trump. Well, the development, backed by Kushner's firm Affinity Partners, targets an island off Albania and a stretch of coastline near the Vjosa Narta protected landscape, a fragile wetland home to flamingos, seagulls, and nesting sea turtles. The protests follow violent clashes at the construction site, where locals and environmental activists are attempting to block bulldozers and defend the pristine Mediterranean shoreline. US House of Representatives approved aid to Ukraine and new sanctions on Russia by a vote of 226 by 195. The bill advances despite opposition from US President Donald Trump, with a few Republicans joining Democrats to push it through. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has proposed a direct meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. In an open letter, he called for a face-to-face dialogue to end the war. Zelensky assured that a full ceasefire would be observed during negotiations and urged setting a clear date for talks. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov confirmed Putin is aware of the letter and will be briefed after the Uzbek president's visit. US President Donald Trump welcomed the proposal, saying it would be great if the two leaders met, adding they should get it done. Russian President Vladimir Putin says peace talks with Ukraine do not require a ceasefire, insisting Moscow is ready to negotiate while continuing its offensive. Putin told reporters that US President Donald Trump's proposals could end the war, but claimed Kiev must compromise. Speaking at Russia's economic forum, Putin vowed Russia would defeat Ukraine on the battlefield if necessary, while also honoring compromises. Well, he said they were discussed with Trump in Alaska last year. He reiterated that Ukraine must surrender the Donbas region, a demand President Volodymyr Zelensky has rejected as capitulation. Putin said Russia now controls all of Luhansk and over 85% of Donetsk, two of the four regions Moscow claimed in 2022. US President Donald Trump called Cuba a failed nation and wants it to be a nicely run country. Well, this comes as Washington announced new sanctions targeting President Miguel Diaz-Canel, his family and members of the Castro family. The measures also hit Cuba's Revolutionary Armed Forces Ministry and several other entities in the latest escalation of US pressure on Havana. Cuba's president has condemned what he called the aggressiveness and perversity of the US government following the new sanctions. He vowed Cuba would resist the sanctions and the ongoing blockade. Colombia's outgoing president Gustavo Petro has sharply criticized US President Donald Trump for endorsing a hard-right candidate in Colombia's upcoming election. Petro accused Washington's allies of having narco-paramilitary ties, calling them genocidal and drug traffickers. The remarks came after Trump endorsed lawyer Alvarado de la Espriella over a leftist senator in the June 21st presidential runoff. Four LPG tanker trucks exploded at a storage site in Mexico, sparking a massive fire and emergency response. Eyewitness video showed plumes of smoke and fires rising from the gas facility. Authorities evacuated about 2,000 people from nearby homes, hospitals and schools. Preliminary reports said 3 people were injured and taken to regional hospitals. US has thrown its support behind embattled Bolivian President Rodrigo Paz, pledging emergency assistance and warning against attempts to topple his government. Secretary of State Marco Rubio assured Paz of US logistics and aid to address food and medical shortages caused by nationwide protests. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth denounced efforts to overthrow Paz, vowing continued US backing to deter narco-terrorist groups. Paz, a pro-business conservative who entered office a little over 7 months ago after a landmark election that ended 2 decades of hard-left rule, while he moved quickly to restore severed ties with the United States, but faced mounting unrest for introducing sweeping economic reforms, including subsidy cuts, that sparked fierce backlash. On Wednesday, thousands queued for hours in La Paz to buy chicken, underscoring the deepening crisis as shortages worsen. Children and spectators joined the Dancing Devils of Caracas Church in Tarmus, Venezuela, as they took part in Corpus Christi celebrations. The historic brotherhood, recognized by UNESCO in 2012, enacts the triumph of good over evil with colorful costumes and masks made from dried grouts. The festival blends Catholic, indigenous and African traditions dating back to 1793 with the arrival of Franciscan friars.
Como he dicho antes, con la fe central, ustedes podrán recibir a Jesús la vez hombre. Y ese Jesús es el que ustedes ven
Slovenia's parliament has approved Prime Minister Janez Janša's new centre-right government, pledging tax cuts, targeted spending and an anti-corruption drive. Janša, a pro-Trump populist, secured a fourth term after March 5th's inconclusive election. Lawmakers backed his 15-member cabinet by 49 votes to 30. Most ministers come from Janša's SDS party, with others from coalition partners NSI, Democrats and Focus. The five-party coalition holds 43 seats in the 90-seat chamber. In his speech, Janša vowed to reduce what he called record-high taxes, cut bureaucracy and devolve more powers to local governments. Analysts say his administration is likely to shift foreign policy away from the previous Liberal government, which recognized Palestine and imposed travel bans on Israeli leaders. China sent a new satellite group into space from the Taiwan Satellite Launch Center in North China's Shaanxi province on Thursday. The satellite group was launched at 1939 Beijing time aboard a modified Long March 6 carrier rocket and entered its preset orbit successfully. They will form part of the Space Sail constellation, a mega commercial Chinese low-orbit satellite network. This launch marked the 648th flight mission of the Long March carrier rocket series, according to the launch center. Chinese state media says President Xi Jinping will visit North Korea next week, his first trip to Pyongyang in 7 years. The visit, set for June 8th to June 9th at Kim Jong-un's invitation, underscores Beijing's role as a vital ally to the isolated, heavily sanctioned state. Despite the close ties between the two countries, visits by Chinese presidents to North Korea are rare. Xi last traveled to Pyongyang in 2019, the first Chinese presidential visit since Hu Jintao in 2005. Taiwan's military has conducted live-fired drone drills in Yilan using Altius 600M drones against maritime targets for the first time. The exercise marks a significant step in Taiwan's defense strategy, showcasing new drone capabilities in coastal operations. Officials say the drills are part of broader efforts to strengthen deterrence amid rising regional tensions. Poke, a startup that builds AI assistants you can talk to through simple text messages, has become the first AI agent approved for Apple's Messages for Business platform. The service allows users to interact with AI like sending a normal chat message for talks such as planning, reminders, fitness tracking, and smart home control. Poke already works on SMS, Telegram, and WhatsApp and has processed over 100 million messages. With Apple's approval, it will now also be available on iMessage under Apple's platform rules. A bipartisan group of U.S. lawmakers has released draft legislation that would prevent states from regulating the development of AI models. The proposal would stop states from passing rules that require testing or approval before AI models are released. However, states would still be allowed to regulate how AI is used. Now, the bill has been praised by tech companies but strongly criticized by consumer rights groups, who warn it would weaken AI safety protections and leave oversight largely to federal authorities. Senior U.S. officials have reportedly held early discussions with major AI companies about the possibility of the government acquiring stakes in their businesses, according to a Notice report. The talks are focused on companies voluntarily providing shares that could generate returns for public purposes, including possible payments to American households. The discussions are still at a preliminary stage and details remain under consideration. The report comes as leading AI firms, including OpenAI and Anthropic, prepare for potential blockbuster public listings. Bulgaria has opened the 17th edition of the Hemis Defense Exhibition in Plovdiv, bringing together global defense companies, government officials, and military technology developers. The event features the latest advances in drones, counter-drone systems, cybersecurity, communications, and command and control technologies. The organizers said the exhibition is designed to create new business partnerships and international cooperation. This year's event has seen a sharp rise in participation, with nearly 200 exhibitors and 17 foreign delegations attending the show. Asian stock markets fell sharply on Friday as investors booked profits in technology shares after Broadcom's results failed to meet high AI-driven expectations. South Korea's tech-heavy Kospi led losses, while Japan's Nikkei also declined as weakness spread across the semiconductor sector. Adding to market caution, uncertainty over US-Iran peace negotiations and rising tensions in West Asia kept investors on the defensive side. Oil prices remained firm on supply concerns, while traders also looked ahead to the crucial US non-farm payrolls report for signals on future Federal Reserve policy. But speaking of oil prices were little changed on Friday after a sharp pullback in the previous session, but remained on course for their first weekly gain in 3 weeks. Markets stayed cautious as uncertainty over a potential US-Iran peace agreement and ongoing tensions in West Asia continue to raise concerns about global energy supplies. Traders are closely watching disruptions around the Strait of Hormuz, a key oil transit route, while analysts warn that tightening global inventories could trigger higher prices in the months ahead. Despite the volatility, OPEC has maintained its global oil demand growth forecast for this year. Gold prices extended losses on Friday and are heading for a weekly decline as investors reassessed expectations for a US-Iran peace agreement and focused on the prospect of high US interest rates. Persistent inflation concerns and hawkish comments from Federal Reserve officials have strengthened expectations that rates could remain elevated for longer, reducing the appeal of non-yielding bullion. Market participants are now awaiting the US non-farm payrolls report for future clues on the Fed's policy direction, while silver, platinum and palladium also remained on track for weekly losses. The Japanese yen hovered around the key 160 per dollar level for the third straight session on Friday, keeping markets alert for possible intervention by Tokyo. Japanese officials reiterated their readiness to act against excessive currency volatility, but the yen remains under pressure from high US yields and elevated energy prices. Meanwhile, the US dollar is heading for a weekly gain as investors seek safe haven assets amid rising tensions in the Gulf region. Market attention is now focused on the US non-farm payrolls report, which could provide fresh clues on the Federal Reserve's next policy move. Advance bookings for Ram Charan's upcoming sports action drama Peddi are off to a solid start. Hours before its official June 4th release, the Buchi Babu Sana directed film has raked in approximately 35 crore rupees worldwide in pre-sales, which is nearly $4.18 million. A large chunk of this momentum is being driven by the overseas market, particularly in North America, where advance sales have crossed the $882,000 mark. And that is it in this edition. News and updates will continue on the other side. Keep watching WION World.